ready to do this episode, Michelle? Oh my goodness.
My God, Liz,
What is happening? We are Liars Podcast. You know what you're here for. So we're going to talk about season 2, episode 15, A Hot Piece of A. Written by Oliver Goldstick, directed by Michael Grossman, aired January 9th, 2012. The summary: the liars, realizing that A is not acting alone and their helper may be closer than they think, they decide to enlist Caleb's hacking skills. I mean, you and Vic were like on it with the Caleb stuff.
Yeah, we were. Yeah.
It only makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Like they need some help, and so they enlist Caleb.
Yeah.
So we pick up right where we left off. This seems to be the trend in this this new season. And so they're at the greenhouse, this random greenhouse. Again, we don't know where it is. And they're searching around, trying to find Allie's box that I guess Emily had dropped or A had dropped. And they panic what to do now that they have A's phone. Spencer's like, it's hot. Like, I don't know what to do with it. What do we do? And then it rings and they're like, answer it. I'm like, why would you answer it?
Yeah, that's weird.
Why
I wouldn't.
I would let A think the phone is missing.
Exactly.
Stupidity. But
yeah.
Luckily, nobody answered it. And they're all like comparing their shitty days, which I thought this was so funny because Hannah's like, I win, Kate's coming to Rosewood. I'm like, Ezra and Arya just told her parents, and Emily literally just got pushed and shoved with glass. So.
Emily, she just kept saying, I have glass in my hair.
These aren't highlights. I have glass in my ear, in my hair, probably in her ears too.
Also, in this scene, Spencer was so bossy.
She's been so bossy lately.
So annoying.
I know.
Specifically in the beginning scene when they're all comparing their shit days.
I know. And then they're all like, we need to tell Caleb.
Yeah.
And Hannah's like, absolutely not. We could take it to the phone place. And they're like,
the phone place.
She's like, we could just call the phone company and they can help us. Like, we're not asking Caleb to do this for us. Like, she's just like, no, I refuse.
Right.
So because Emily and Spencer fought during their community service, they both have some extra time to do. We don't see Spencer's, but Emily has hers in the form of a crisis center, which I'm like, oh, One Tree Hill. Remember the crisis center?
Also, 90210.
90210.
Brenda.
Yep.
Yeah.
I love this trope. It cracks me up because it's always like the ones that their calls and like, who's on the other line? And like, of course, it's someone in town that everyone knows. And
right.
So Emily ends up on her first day reading a transcript with the manager there of someone who seems to be A or A's helper, and they mention how they're going to be in so much trouble and they turned it off, but that's all they can do. And so Emily's convinced like this is who we're talking about. So she takes a transcript to show the girls, and Spencer decides again, very bossy, like we all need to be a volunteer here. And Arya's like, I'm like I need to stay in the house. I'm grounded.
Right.
So Spencer and Emily end up doing the session together. And of course, they end up at the same time listening to a phone call from Lucas.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, this has got to be Lucas. Did you see this coming on the other line?
Oh, absolutely. Like I pretty much called this being Lucas from like when we first see Lucas and just acting weird and Hanna, which we'll get to with like Hanna recruiting him. And even last week after watching, and I was like thinking about, I'm like, I think Lucas is something's not right with
You were
Lucas.
thinking, especially since the Halloween episode, because I mean, they show you right there that he has a violent side, and as we know, he's the one who trashed Allison's memorial, and he's the one who claims to have pushed her and called her bitch. Like, he could have a dark side.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And I also need to reiterate that the girls are still on it's Jenna's helper thing. Like, Jenna is A, and
Jenna and Garrett.
Jenna and Garrett. Yes. Jenna and Garrett, and whoever's her eyes and ears.
But, like, to be honest with you, that it's kind of fitting.
Mm-hmm.
They might be leading us in a different way, but, like, some of the things that are said, like, Garrett's like, we shouldn't have enlisted him to help us, you know.
Right.
They're doing a good job for us to think that it's them.
Mm-hmm. Right. And now the girls have to tell Hanna that Lucas is potentially suspicious or working with A. And so, of course, they want to enlist, as we said, Caleb to help with A's phone, and Hannah's very much against this. She feels like obviously he could get hurt in this process. He does try and recover some files on the phone before A could shut it down, and Hannah's just not really happy about this situation, but the other girls are kind of like pushing her to be like, it's okay. And I feel like Kate had asked, like, how do you feel about the girls steamrolling Hannah into asking Caleb to help them? I feel like it's really rude and disrespectful.
It is. They're not really hearing her. They don't care about her feelings.
They don't. Mm-mm.
Because, okay, they want Caleb's help, but like, Caleb's going to be like, can I get something? Like, and he's so in tune. He's like, you guys are acting really weird.
Yep.
What is happening? What happened when I went to California?
Yep.
Can I know any information? And
they're like, no,
you can't.
Yeah, our listeners want to know if we would tell Caleb anything about the situation. It's hard.
It's so hard. You know what? You guys know how much I love him, and I feel like he is a trustworthy source. I mean, no one can be trusted, right? Like, let me say that with caution. But I think I would fill him in a little bit. But here's the other thing. Caleb also kept a lot from Hanna.
He did.
And he would be like, no, I don't want to share that with you. I can't share that with you. Especially with like the phone stuff. Like, this is business. So I feel like, Caleb, you don't really need to know. We're just asking you to do a job.
Yeah.
What would you do? Would you tell him?
I think...
Well, you know what happens, I guess.
I do know what happens. But also, I feel like I'm almost a little bit safe with him because he, if something were to happen with A, he would be able to kind of compete on their level.
Yes.
So if I needed him to like obviously break into the phone, yes, I'd be like, yes, this is someone who is been trying to blackmail us. We don't, and she doesn't lie. We don't know who it is. Like, we don't know who it is.
Yeah.
What can you make of it? Because this person is not, not been good to us.
Right.
I guess it's hard to say what I would say in the moment, but.
And like at this point, I feel like Toby and Caleb, like, let's recruit them to our side. They want to be what we think.
They want to know.
They want to be on the girls' side. We can trust them. Like, I want those two on my side.
Absolutely. I feel like it would make sense for the more people to know about it, the better. Because then I feel like A and whoever's helping A has a lesser chance of, a greater chance of being figured out if you have more people on your side.
Right.
That's just my logic. But I don't know. They don't ask anyone to help them. They don't want anyone in their lives getting hurt.
Which I get. I do get
I get it too. I get it. So we have Hanna meeting up with Lucas, and he's still being definitely a little awkward around Caleb and Hanna, and it makes the audience feel like he's got something to hide, or like you said last week, maybe he still really has a crush on Hanna and he doesn't know how to, navigate it since he is good friends with Caleb. And so he's like, I can help you study, but it seems like he has a very reluctant tone to do so. And so while they're studying, Hanna tells Lucas that she would love his help planning Caleb's birthday party because, he's essentially his best friend now. And because Spencer let her use her family's lake house, she wants to do this like nice party. And this is like kind of like an inside joke with the girls because Spencer finds out that Hanna and Caleb did actually do some things on her Nana's couch, and she's not too happy about it.
That was funny. That's my Nana's couch.
Exactly. Kate says, do you think that was like a good trade for Spencer to kind of give her like a forgiveness for her asking Caleb and to allow them to use her family's lake house? I don't really think it's
I don't think so. I don't think so. I thought maybe we were going to explore that a little bit more, but it kind of wrapped itself up when Emily told Spencer, like, oh, you didn't know that? Ooh.
Yeah. In next week's episode, they kind of like, Spencer makes a mention like, I know what you did there.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. But it's so quick that it doesn't even matter.
Okay.
So the party planning is underway, and it ends up being this huge blowout because Mona gets involved, and her and Nate, what's his name?
Noel Khan.
I was going to call him Nate. Want to be invited, and so like the entire class gets invited, and throughout this episode, Hanna is like really stressed about it, but also because of Caleb doing like his encryption work, so she's getting more and more nervous. And like we said, he wonders if she's telling him the truth, and he like makes her promise. He's like, we don't like keep secrets from each other.
Yeah.
And I really liked this scene because he's like just being a really good partner, and seeing that obviously there's something wrong with his girlfriend. He's like, I know something's wrong. You're not telling me it. And like, we don't do that. We
Right.
don't do it.
Right. He's so cute. I like have such a crush on this teenager right now. Oh my gosh, in this show, Caleb,
I
he just
we
says like really nice things, you know, and he's just there for Hanna the way he loves her, and you know, and he looks good too. So
he looks good.
That helps.
It sure does.
I really have a crush on Caleb.
And as you should, Michelle.
Yeah,
if there's going to be anyone to crush on, it would be Caleb. I think our listeners would agree.
Yeah, yeah.
So he ends up recovering one single photo, which the girls seem kind of like disappointed that that's all he got. But, you know, it's a photo of the A dolls set up on a wooden table or a dresser with very ornate wallpaper in the background.
Yeah, this was creepy.
Mm-hmm. And so Spencer ends up helping Hanna plan the party with Lucas, and she's very surprised when Lucas comes into her attic. She's like, how did you get up here? And she's freaked out because now she knows things about him, or she thinks she knows things about him. And so at that point, this time now, Emily's on the other line on the crisis hotline, and Lucas has made a call saying like, it needs to happen tonight, and I know I'm gonna hurt her and I'm gonna lose her, but like I have to do it. And Emily's like, what the hell? So she rushes over to the party, and she does bump into Lucas, and she's like, I know you feel like you have to do something, but like you don't have to do it. And so he realizes like, oh shit, it definitely was Emily on the other line. Like,
can we just go back to when Lucas is in the attic, right? It was so, like, I don't know, exaggerated, and he's just like, I'm just looking for tools, and I'm like, is there no
up here?
Right? Is there no light in this attic? No one has a flashlight, and I guess that's adding to the whole creepiness level. But I couldn't get past that. I was like, Lucas.
I know they're really trying to like.
They're adding a thick layer of creep on, you know.
Right. They really are. And then when he's gone, Spencer realizes that apparently this wallpaper that they see in this photo from A is of her attic. Like, what are the chances that they would go there?
I know. She just moves a box looking for things.
She's like, this is it.
This is it. This is like the ledge and the wallpaper. Ooh.
Of course. It's like so picture perfect.
Of course. Of course.
Yeah. So Hannah's really distracted by the party, and she gets frustrated because Spencer keeps giving her these like annoying Lucas possibilities, and she's like, look, listen, like I can't talk to you, I can't deal with it now. And she ends up getting in a boat with him to go across the lake.
I can't Liz, I can't. I was screaming on my couch last night.
I know. It's like, why do you need to go in the dark in a wooden boat with another person it's like foggy just to do fireworks? Like, we don't need the fireworks. Your safety is of importance here.
I don't understand. How are we setting this up? Where were they like setting it up in the middle of the lake?
I think they were trying to get to like the shore on the other
side.
I guess, or I don't know. We don't go into it because we don't get there.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
We don't get there because Lucas ends up stopping the boat mid-lake, and Spencer and Emily are screaming her name, and she's not answering, and he's like, don't answer them. And it's so like dark, and it makes him look really scary. And at this point now, Hannah's like, okay, maybe my friends were right about Lucas. I'm really afraid. So she hits him over the head with an oar. Why?
Well, what else is she gonna do?
What was he gonna do? Just like throw her in the ocean? Like, I don't know what she thought he was gonna do, but her instinct was to knock him over the edge. And he's like, I'm trying to tell you something. Please let me tell you it. And she knocks him over, and so she starts to row back, but of course the boat ends up toppling over, and so she has to swim back, probably in freezing cold. This is December, January.
That's right. Let's not forget what time of year it is.
And then fucking Mona and Noel are like, we went for a dip on like, it's like -3 degrees.
Yo.
What? That doesn't make any sense.
These two showing up.
Something's not right.
You look
there.
real suspicious. Real suspicious. Just
That's
a nice little. At first, I thought they ran out because they were having sex because they looked like they were fooling around.
Yeah.
But then they're like, no, we took a dip.
Not weird.
It's refreshing.
refreshing. It was, I mean, Hannah needed a blanket. She was probably going to be blue any second. And that's how Caleb sees her at the party. He's like, what's happening? She's like, happy birthday. Like, surprise.
Poor Caleb.
Poor Caleb. He's like, what happened to my girlfriend? What is going on here? It just was really terrible for Hannah. And then no one knows really where Lucas went. And, they're like, well, I don't know, maybe what happened to him? I don't know. And then at the end of it, we do see a gloved person like fishing out Lucas's shoe.
Yeah. What the heck? Is he dead? Will you tell me that? You can't tell me that.
I can tell you it. Do you want me to? He's not dead. He's not dead.
Okay. All right.
But Kat wants to know, and Kate wants to know what you think made Dark Lucas, or what he was trying to tell Hannah.
Yeah, I feel like the obvious reason is someone. I feel like what they want us to believe is that Jenna and Garrett recruited Lucas to act as A in the greenhouse.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it seems. Okay, I feel like that's an obvious thing that they're trying to make us believe. And so then Lucas was going to admit to Hannah, like, it was me. I've been doing this because of Allie and Tortured, and I don't want to do this anymore.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think. That's what I think. I think
that's what they want you
to think. Right. Mm-hmm. And then, the other part of me was like, he knows something about Caleb. And about Caleb, like, moving back or not staying. And he was going to, like, warn Hannah. But he was just, like, if that was the case, because I was also waiting for that to happen, then the way we're building this up is, like, really dark and weird to deliver that news.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do Caleb and Toby, do they hang out? No, right?
Not right now, at least.
Like, these two need to become besties.
I know.
These two need to hang out, and then they can join forces and be like, what's going on with our girls?
All right.
I want that friendship to happen.
And maybe your wish will come true.
Okay. All right.
All right, so over to Aria, who is getting ready to leave for school, and Byron is classifying her outfit as just inappropriate, which I'm like, I mean, obviously I wouldn't call it inappropriate, but what are you wearing?
Right. She has
why are you wearing fishnets to high school?
Yeah, the skirt is a little short, or dress, whatever it was, and knee-high boots. And he's like, now I know who you're dressing for. It's like, not for nothing, but Ezra's not a teacher at the high school anymore.
He doesn't even go there.
So she's dressing for herself with her giant ass spider necklace.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I was like, you are a tiny person. This has got to be heavy. Her jewelry has got to be so heavy. She's so
tiny, and her jewelry is so large all the time.
All the time.
I wonder, we should ask Lucy Hale, like, how was it having those bricks on your ears?
Was it really light, or was it heavy? Yeah.
I know. It's crazy. And so Ella's like, you need to pick your battles. And you can see, like, Aria's like, oh, maybe my mom is, like, warming up to the idea a little bit. And she's like, oh, no. Let me reassure you. You are forbidden to see Ezra. You are punished. And you also can't even say goodbye to him. So, like, forget any of that. You're going to be spending more time with your family, less with your friends. And, like, that's it. You're done.
I get it.
I get it.
That's Ella.
How else do you expect a parent to react in this situation?
Right.
But then Aria's like, did you even like him? And Ella's like, I did.
As a colleague.
I did when he was a colleague and, a friend, but I don't anymore.
Right. Like, I lost respect for him.
Exactly. So Ella does have Emily taking this makeup test later on, and when she's not able to really do it, Ella does ask her an inappropriate question, like, what is my daughter doing when I'm not around? And I'm sorry for asking you that. It was really inappropriate. But Emily assures her that she's still the same Aria and someone you can be proud of. Like, she hasn't changed.
It was such a good answer, Emily.
It was a great answer.
Like, that's the type of answer you want your best friend to give.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
I really like that scene.
Yeah, me too. So Aria uses her friends' phones periodically in this episode to leave Ezra messages, I guess, so her parents can't track her phone just in case. And then Ezra gets a visit from Byron, who Yeah. Tells him basically like, I know what it's like to be seduced by the idea of a younger woman, but in my case, it wasn't a minor.
I can't. I know how hard it could be really tricky navigating student-teacher relationships.
It can. It's not tricky whatsoever. You don't have a relationship. Just don't do it.
Gross.
Yeah. And then Byron's like, how much time have you and Arya spent together? And he looks at the bed and the bed's like not really made. And he's like probably in his mind like, oh my God, has my daughter had sex with him? And he tells Ezra, look, if you don't leave Arya alone, I'm going to have to call the police.
Yeah. Restraining order.
You're going to be done.
Essentially.
Yeah, that's it. You're going to be done.
Right.
And so then Byron tells Ella later on, and she's mad because she's like, I kind of wish I knew. Maybe I could have went with you, or at least maybe I could have stopped you from going there. Like, we can't call the cops. We just can't do it. Arya has this reputation in town. Like, she's just done with her community service. Look what this will do to her. You got to think about Arya in this situation. He's like, you're right. And so, they decide not to call the cops, at least not yet.
Not yet.
On Ezra.
Right.
And then I feel like we have this really unnecessary scene of Hanna showing up at Ezra's office.
Yes.
Why did we did not need this wasted airtime. While I love to see Hanna and she was picking up the cake for Caleb, Ezra's just in there and she's just like, even though Arya's parents don't agree, her friends are okay with it. What? Who cares?
That doesn't matter. That should not.
That doesn't mean that like you go and like express your love for this person in front of, like, I just don't understand why we did this.
Yeah. Again, just showing support. Like, you want your best friend to have your back, just like Emily had Arya's back. So
yeah,
but we didn't need it. We definitely didn't need it.
Right. Like the Ella scene, yes, because it shows Arya's character and how she's still who she is. But this like scene where Hannah's like, we like you guys together. Excuse me. True love should always,
prevail.
Exactly. Like that's basically what she was saying. And I feel like as the audience, we didn't need to see that, but
yeah, I agree.
They added that in. So then Arya calls him one last time. And this time he picks up and he says, you can't call me again. Like respecting her parents' wishes and what they think is best for Arya. And so Arya is obviously devastated.
Yeah.
And then later Ezra's eating at the grill and the Montgomerys want to have a nice family dinner there, which I'm like, it's the only restaurant in town. Of course Ezra's there. And Byron's like, no, we can eat somewhere else. This is ridiculous. And they end up bumping into one of Byron's old friends and colleagues, and they're just coming back from being, out of the country. And he's there with his son Holden, who has known Arya. Sorry, I keep losing my voice for no reason. He's known Arya since they were kids, and it was very like Jacob Bella to me. Like,
I agree.
Used to make mud pies together, He's like, yeah, I remember you. Like, we used to play together. And they make up that they're going to have dinner within, like, the next few weeks. And then Ella sees Arya on the phone trying to leave Ezra another message. And she lies telling her mom that it was Holden on the other line. And they're making plans to see each other.
I can't even believe Ella would believe this.
Right? Come on, Ella. Like, you're smarter than that.
For a second, I'm like, she's like, there's no way. But then when Arya goes in, she's like, well, if Dad lets me off.
I know. She's such a fucking manipulating little kid.
I get it, right? And so she's like, well, let me talk to your dad. I like the way Ella's trying to navigate this tricky situation.
Me
but
too.
Like, Holden, are we really getting another character right now?
I know.
Is Holden part of the crew?
Not real. So we'll see next week that Holden did go to their high school. Like, the kids know of him, but he really was like Arya's childhood friend. Kind of like how, Mona's like Hannah's friend. And then we have like Arya now will have her friend. And then, of course, then we have Hanna has the Kate situation. So everyone has like a different side buddy, if you will.
Holden? Really?
Holden. Yep. What do you think is this deal? All of our listeners want to know.
No idea. I was not expecting to get someone new.
Nope.
So I feel like he's just going to be there. Like he's not, I don't think
he's not adding to the story.
No, I don't think he's going to add anything. Just like a distraction of, let me say I'm with you, but I'll go to Ezra.
Yeah, I was waiting for this Holden stuff to come.
Oh, you remember him?
Yeah, I didn't remember his name or what he looked like, but I knew there was like a friend that Arya has that she kind of uses as like, an excuse basically.
Right. Right.
So, do you think this is the end of
No.
Ezria Azaria as we know it?
No way. No way.
Okay.
We're not going to do all of this for it to end like this. It's not happening.
I know, that's so true. Like,
It's
all
like-
that build up for what? Nothing?
Yeah, so the parents can squash it. It's just going to make them want to do it more.
Right.
And Arya will fight more for it.
Yeah, it's almost like you see that time and time again where you have like more, and I'm not saying they're being strict parents. I think what they're doing is definitely appropriate in this situation.
Yeah, I agree.
But when you have parents that like really have a tight hold on who their kids can hang out with or date, or like, it just makes them want to do it more.
Right.
So you kind of have to like pick your battles, like Ella said. Pick your battles with your kid. Like, obviously, she's probably going to still want to see him. So she's going to make it happen regardless.
Yeah, I mean, unless they get the
Ezra cuts
restraining
it
order.
off completely.
Right.
Unless Ezra feels like, no, I can't continue.
Yeah.
But Arya's not going to say that.
Unless he'll have to say, like, I don't love you anymore. Like, we got to use that hard of, like, I'm not in love with you anymore.
Yeah.
And just lead with that hurt. And then it's like, obviously that's not the truth, but.
Right. We kind of either have to do where it's like Spencer and Toby at this point, which we'll get to. She kind of has to lie to him to make him feel like she did, like last week, like, I can't trust you. So therefore we can't be together, and kind of have to lie to them to make them move on.
Mm-hmm.
But Spencer doesn't really do a good job in this episode because she sees Toby and she apologizes for her past behavior. And obviously, like, the heart wants what it wants, and they end up making out in the car. And they stop because they overhear Garrett very loudly on the phone, basically telling Jenna that he wants to come in the house. Jenna's inside, but she won't allow him to come in. And they got into some big fight per Toby. And he thinks she's just really nervous because of her eye operation that's going to be happening. And then Garrett on the phone also mentions like this third party in their equation. And now Spencer is like, oh, this has got to be Jason. Jason. Always Jason. Of course, Jason's been out of town. Like, what does this mean? And so then later, Toby witnesses Garrett basically running after the taxi of Jenna, who's going to her eye operation in Boston. And he's like, who's in the car with her? And Toby's like, I know nothing, dude. Like, she's like, we have no relationship. I don't like her as a person. So she's very manipulative.
Yeah, like, but this was like really weird to me because.
Yes, agreed.
Like, Toby says, oh, she met new friends, and this is what she does.
What friends? What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
She's going to Boston by herself with some friends. No parent. There's no parental guardian going.
I don't know
for the
why
surgery.
They had to include that sentence of like she has friends.
Like she met a new group, and she's going with them.
Who? Because that when I tell you this doesn't even like follow through. Like, what are we talking about here? The dialogue did not make any sense.
Okay, I'm glad I didn't miss something.
Yeah, no, you didn't miss anything. I was like, what are we talking about? But I guess like this was like a very strange, and to me, I feel like, is Garrett doing this on purpose to make Toby think something's going on with him and Jenna? Like, I truly don't remember. Like, or is Garrett that pathetic that he needs to tell her stepbrother that, like, I'm in love with her and she controls me, and now she basically broke up with me. I've done everything she's asked me to do, and it's not good enough. And Toby's like, yeah, I know. It's like, it's never good enough with Jenna. I know this all too well, basically.
Right.
Like, what?
Yeah, this was so freaking weird. And also, I'm like, what happened? We don't even know what they're fighting over, right?
We don't know what they're fighting about.
And but
I
then,
think we'll get to it. But
right, but then one can assume that perhaps it's Lucas. Like, Lucas didn't do a good enough job as the third party and dropped the phone, and maybe is telling them, like, I'm going to tell Hanna or the girls I can't do this anymore. Right. And so then I could imagine the fight of being like, we shouldn't have trusted Lucas. I could be all wrong, but this is
right. But that's really what they're setting you up to understand, though. You know, like that's what they're spoon feeding it to you, basically.
Yes.
For reasons I cannot say.
Right. Yeah.
But that's like my summary. I feel like this episode was the lake house stuff, I did remember that from the past. I did remember Holden coming in. I couldn't remember when. I knew it was like when her and Ezra had this like issue in their relationship, but yeah. And then now the Kate's coming to Rosewood. Like it's just, lots is gonna change.
It's a turning point.
Episodes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's turn the point on our episode. We'll be right back. The MVP and shittiest were very difficult for me this episode. Do you have an MVP?
I do have an MVP.
Who is it?
Emily. Again.
Emily. Yeah. That's a great one. I figured that when you were.
Yeah. I love the way she just complimented Arya to Ella to kind of reassure her. I also love the exchange she had with Spencer. Like, yo, I can't help you. I got community service. You'll figure it out. Mm-hmm. Like Emily's just like taking charge and then like trying to get to Lucas, and she's just, I like her leading. I really am enjoying this Emily, and I think about it because now I'm eating my words from season 1 where I'm like, Emily doesn't do enough. Emily kind of is the weakest link, and I just don't feel that way anymore.
I also agree.
I love Emily. Me too.
I'm really happy she's like come out of her shell, and yeah, if I had to rate them, I definitely rate her higher now.
Me too. And I think my rating right now is still Hanna because I just enjoy her. It's Hanna, Emily, Spencer, Arya.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Wow.
For season 2. For season 1, it was obviously different.
Right. Season 2 right now.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
But I mean, we're basically more than halfway done with the season, and hopefully rides out, on a positive note for Emily.
Yeah. Who's your MVP?
I actually had Caleb just because I liked his speech, and like obviously we know he helped the girls unconditionally, but he was like, "Hey Hannah, is this okay? Like we don't keep secrets from each other." Like just intuitive, knowing that his girlfriend obviously is going through something, and I really enjoyed Caleb. I honestly couldn't pick a shittiest. I mean, I could give it to Garrett. I could give it to Lucas, but like
he's going through it. We don't really know what's happening. I also agree. I don't really have a shittiest.
Yeah. No, because like, the Montgomerys, they're doing what they have to do for their kid, and Ezra honestly did listen to them in the end and is not picking up her phone call and feeling like he could, let Arya deal with this without him, basically. And, everyone else, like Spencer, you're annoying, but at least you're trying to get to the point. And, like,
she made up with Toby.
She made up with Toby. Toby was good.
Toby was really good.
Besides the last week with the grabbing situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was hard. Hard. I wouldn't particularly call it any cringe in this episode, really.
No, definitely not. But there was one part where Emily is like, she's having that exchange with Lucas, and then Lucas, like, it registers and he just goes, he turns super, like a super sharp turn. And I was like, Lucas.
I forgot that happened. And I did laugh very, very hard on that part.
But besides that, I wasn't really cringed out at all.
I know you don't watch Impractical Jokers, but in a very early season of Impractical Jokers, one of the challenges was that Murr had to like quickly turn around, like deadpan stare at someone, like not laughing, and like that what made me want to think I should do a side by side here. That's what it made me think of. He was like, so funny. Lucas and Murr, the same.
Yes.
Well, this was a short episode, but I'm going to give you the title for our next episode.
Okay.
And my secret. So the episode is for number 16, which is crazy. Mm-hmm. And it's titled, Let the Water Hold Me Down.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Well, I did tell you Lucas is not dead.
I know.
But, and my secret is that Spencer finds a suspicious location written on a note in her lake house attic.
Huh.
She finds a location. It's not very suspicious, but she finds a location and they end up going to the location.
Okay, cool. So we're still at the lake house. Are we going to continue the theme where we're picking up where we left off?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, they seem to be doing that the last couple episodes.
Okay, good. So I think Caleb is going to want explanations. what was happening. And I think Hannah's going to hide it and be like, oh, I had this plan to do fireworks for you. And so that's why I went out in the boat. And
she won't talk negatively about Lucas to Caleb?
Correct. He's living there. So let's not. I think she's still going to protect Lucas.
Mm-hmm.
At least to Caleb.
Yeah.
And I don't think Caleb's going to believe her.
Oh, okay.
And then Lucas, whenever he comes up for air, like what? I don't. Where are you, Lucas? Because if Hannah swam back to shore and she's freezing cold and there's no sign of Lucas, was there another boat out there? And it makes me believe that like Mona and Noel Khan were out there and got Lucas because they're part of the A team. Yeah. So I think that'll all come into play. And then this location that A planted for them, maybe they'll find another thing of Allie's or something.
I have to say, next week's episode, I really enjoy, and I remembered a lot about it.
Ooh, okay, great. I mean, this episode was really good. This episode was really good, too.
Mm-hmm.
So I look forward to some answers. Are we seeing Jason?
Not next week.
Wow. Okay, we're still... And I get it. I can understand Spencer's thinking of being like, well, is he really missing? Because maybe he's involved.
Right. She said to Garrett, is Jason missing like Dr. Sullivan's missing? Like, you know.
Right. Right. So I look forward to it.
So because you're suspicious of Mona and Noel, do you think that they are also with Lucas a part of Jenna and Garrett, or like it's two separate entities?
No, I think...
Like, are they all the A team?
Yeah, I do at this point. I think, though, they don't know everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Lucas enlisted Mona and Noel's help, but they don't know why they're helping. It's kind of like if you're part of the A team or part of a trust, and I don't always have to give you all the information.
Yeah.
Just know that, like, the ultimate goal is to torture these girls.
Just to torture them.
And if I could be a part of it in any way, I'm there.
Yeah.
Like, Mona and Noel just, like, cracked me up in this episode. Like, the way they were just, like, clinging on to each other. Like, we're coming to the party, right? Like, we're totally friends. Mona and Caleb. It's like, Caleb and I made up. We're friends.
Yeah, she's like, we're coming. Everyone's coming.
Everyone's coming. Yeah.
Dad is like, I didn't think you actually cared to come to Caleb's party.
Yeah. And then, like, how did that party get out?
Mona, I guess.
How did Mona find out? Because Hanna acted like she did not tell anybody. The girls knew.
Right, that's true.
Right.
That's true.
Right. Yeah.
Good point. How did everyone know?
How did everybody know? But I look forward to it. I look forward to next week.
Me too. I look forward to chatting about next week's episode because there are some things, like I said, stuff I remembered and I was like, oh, it's this episode.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Great.
I know we always look forward to those episodes.
Yeah.
All right, we'll be back. Hope you enjoyed. Have a wonderful week. And we're basically in March, so I can't believe that. That's crazy.
That's crazy. Bye, liars.
I was going to say, we're going to be at Epicon Chicago.
Oh my gosh. Yes, we are. So if you're going, reach out. Come say hi. We can't wait to have our photo op with Tyler and Keegan.
We purchased a photo op with Tyler and Keegan. Like, how schoolgirl are we?
So schoolgirl. I can't wait to frame it and hang it up in the Betty office so I can just look at us with the boys. I can't wait.
In addition to them, though, Tori DeVito and Troyan and Ashley Benson will be there. So we have some Pretty Little Liars content hopefully coming and very exciting stuff. So if you're going, let us know. You can DM us, Total Betty Podcast Network, everywhere, basically.
Yeah, reach out.
Yeah. All right, that's it. See ya.